Here's what most marine dealers think they're doing when they handle leads. They're thinking they're building relationships, nurturing prospects, following up with care. They're not. What they're really doing is hoping that someone remembers to call back, that a form submission gets noticed, and that maybe a buyer will come back on their own. That's not marketing. That's wishful thinking. The real cost of this approach isn't just lost sales, it's the entire journey getting lost in the noise. This is Marine Dealership Marketing, the show about systematic marketing that actually works. I'm Mikey, and today we're mapping the 5 stages of every lead from first touch to final sale: capture, route, follow-up, review, and attribute. Not just a flowchart on your wall, but a real system. And it's going to change how you think about your leads. So here's the thing about marketing that works. It's not just about getting attention. It's about creating an entire journey, one that every lead moves through from first click to final delivery. You don't just want people to land on your page or even call you back. You want them to go through a trackable, repeatable 5-stage experience that ends in a sale. That means no more guessing how many times someone gets called, when they get an email, who sends what to whom. That's all just luck now. The 5 stages are capture, where your lead first touches you, whether it's from Google, Meta, Boat Trader, or a form on your site. Route, where that lead is deduplicated and sent to the right rep fast. Follow-up, where the real relationship starts with cadenced communication, not random reminders. Review, which happens after delivery and asks for feedback, referrals, and satisfaction. And finally, attribute, tracking every touch point to see what actually caused the sale. This isn't some fancy framework you can fake. You have to map it honestly against your own CRM records. That's the only way to find out where the leaks are. For most dealerships, that leak is between follow-up and review. They're good at answering the phone or filling in a form, but they fail at the sustained effort that turns interested buyers into booked sea trials. So, the fix is simple, if not easy. Take one stage you know is broken and build a defined cadence for it. A real schedule. Even a simple one. It's better than someone remembering to call back or writing something down on a napkin. Start with the weakest link. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. That's just confusion. Do the 5 stages, map them to your current process, trace what really happened for the last 10 delivered buyers, and see where the gaps are. Now, let's talk through each of those 5 stages in order, using real tactics you can implement today. Capture is where it starts, the first point of contact. It doesn't matter how they found you, but you have to make that moment count. Website forms should be short, mobile-friendly, and clear. Don't ask for more than you need. You don't want to lose someone because their phone screen is too small or they don't understand what's going on. If you use lead capture tools like Woohoo or Typeform, great, but make sure you're not losing leads in the process. When a buyer lands from Google Ads or Meta, the form should pop up with a clear headline and a short list of required fields. That means no unnecessary questions about boat preferences unless they've already made some choices in the ad copy. And if someone clicks through to your site looking for a specific boat model, their name and phone number might be enough to get started, with additional details filled in later during follow-up. Route is the system that makes sure a lead gets to the right person quickly and consistently. You can't just let someone write the lead into their calendar. Use a CRM system like Salesforce or HubSpot. Set up lead scoring and automate assignments. If a lead comes from Texas, they go to the Dallas rep. If they're budget conscious and asking about older models, route them differently than a luxury buyer with a large checkbook. The routing needs to consider not just geography but also boat type, price range, and even timing. Someone who visits your site late in the evening might be more interested in booking a sea trial during the morning hours. Lead scoring can help prioritize these types of behaviors so that reps know exactly what kind of attention a lead requires. You could set thresholds based on how many pages they viewed or how long they spent on the site. Follow-up is where you build trust, and it's where most dealerships fail, not in initial response, but in sustained engagement. Set up a cadence, maybe an email every 3 days for the first week, a phone call on day 10, and then maybe another follow-up at day 30. Personalize it, use their name, reference what they said, remind them of something specific they asked about. Don't spam them or overwhelm them, but don't let them go cold either. The key here is consistency. If you tell a buyer that you'll call every 3 days, you have to stick to that. Don't wait until day 25 to call someone who's been quiet. And when you do reach out, make sure it's meaningful, not just another reminder that you're still interested in selling them something. Use their specific preferences from the capture stage. If they mention wanting a boat with a certain feature, mention it again, or even send a short video of that feature being used. Review is where you ask for more. Feedback, testimonials, referrals. After the boat's delivered and the buyer is satisfied, send a survey. Offer a small incentive, like a discount on a service or free maintenance checkup. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just make sure that people who bought from you are asked how it went and that their answer is collected and used. The review process needs to happen at a specific time, not right after delivery when the buyer is overwhelmed with paperwork or excited about their new boat, but a few days later when they've had time to think about what happened. Ask simple questions like, what did you enjoy most about your buying experience? Or, would you recommend us to someone else looking for a boat? Then use that feedback to improve. And finally, attribute. This is what makes the whole process measurable. Use UTM parameters, track conversions, measure ROI, and track customer acquisition cost. That way, you know which leads turned into sales and why. Not just who clicked something, but how much each channel helped. You're not guessing anymore. You're measuring. Each email or call should be tagged with a unique identifier so you can track which one actually led to a sale. If someone responds to a specific ad and then comes back after 3 weeks for a sea trial, that's valuable information. That's not just a conversion. That's a success story you can tell in your next meeting. Here's the one rule that matters. Fix the weakest stage first. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Most dealerships have a broken follow-up system or a weak review ask, and it's usually the same gap in every dealership I've seen. If you focus on just that one, even with a simple schedule, you'll see an immediate increase in close rate. But here's what people get wrong. They treat this like a fantasy process instead of a real one. They think the ideal system is going to be perfect and everything's going to run smoothly. No. You pull your actual CRM data from the last 10 sales, trace what really happened at each stage, and then make honest adjustments. It's not aspirational, it's brutal. Another mistake is trying to do all 5 stages at once. That's why most people don't get results. They start with a system that's too big, too complex, and doesn't actually get traction in the real world. You have to go in, find your weakest link, and fix it first before expanding. And here's what really gets missed. You don't just do the follow-up and then call it done. You keep checking what changes. If a competitor suddenly starts using a new hook or a new offer, you watch. You also keep watching if someone on your team stops following up, or if the system breaks because someone forgot to click a button. These things are all part of the journey, not just the final goal. Let me give you an example. One dealership I worked with had their follow-up email going out on day 1, then day 3, and finally day 5. But the real conversion happened around day 7 or 8. They were missing the gap where they needed to check in once more before calling it good. It's not just about sending the right number of emails, it's about timing those messages based on what you've learned from actual data. The 5 stages, capture, route, follow-up, review, and attribute, need to be mapped to real data, not wishful thinking. Start by fixing the weakest one with a defined cadence, not random memory-based follow-ups. And don't forget to pull actual CRM records for your last 10 deals, trace what really happened, and find those embarrassing gaps. That's marine dealership marketing. If this one earned its time, the full system is inside the course at learn.mikey.ai. I'm Mikey. Go map your process before you lose another lead.